there's a few exercises that anyone starting out with animation needs to do. The principles in these animation exercises are so universal and will apply to every single thing that you animate. So today we'll learn how to animate the bouncing ball, the spinning ball, the pendulum, and the hammer swing. For each exercise, we'll have a level 1, which is the easier version, and then once you can do that comfortably, move on to the level 2 version of it. Let's start with the bouncing ball so that we can get a really good understanding of arcs and spacing. For this exercise, I just want you to animate it straight ahead, meaning we'll draw each sequential frame one after the other. And I'll be animating on ones, meaning that there's a new drawing every single frame. So in order to make this ball animation feel natural, it has to follow a set of decreasing arcs as the ball loses momentum. The ball's vertical speed also slows down as it reaches the top of that arc and then speeds back up again as it falls down towards the ground. So how do you accomplish this? Well, the way we're going to do it is we're going to pack more drawings into the peak of the arc where the ball is moving slower, and then have fewer drawings as the ball is going up and going down. By having smaller gaps in the drawings or decreasing the spacing, we make the ball feel as though it's moving slower. And that means the opposite is true as well. If you increase the amount of space between the drawings, it's going to make the ball feel as though it's moving even faster. The other thing I'm doing here is I'm stretching the ball right before it hits the ground and then squashing it as it does hit the ground. This builds anticipation and emphasizes the impact. And you'll see later on, we're really going to play around with how much squash and stretch we use. So what I want you to do now is pause the video and try this out for yourself. Okay, I'm going to trust that you're not lying to me and you actually paused the video and did the exercise. So let's move on to the spinning ball. It's a simple exercise. It's just a ball rotating around a circle. But we're going to do one version in a top-down view and the other in a front view, which is going to require a little more perspective. For this one, we're going to animate it pose to pose, meaning that we're going to start with our 4 key poses, that being the A, B, C, and D poses you see labeled. Another 4 breakdown poses, which are halfway between each of those. And then finally, 8 in-between drawings, which are going to fill in all of the remaining gaps. The interesting part about this exercise is you'll notice in the front view as we get towards the B and D poses that the spacing of our drawings is going to decrease. So we're actually going to get a lot more drawings clustered around those 2 positions. This is just a consequence of perspective, but the net result is that you end up making more drawings towards the sides. So the main takeaways from this exercise is that we can use pose to pose to start from our keyframes and then gradually fill in the gaps. And perspective is going to affect the spacing of our drawings. And I'll reiterate the same thing. Definitely pause the video and try this out before moving on to the next exercise, which is going to be the pendulum. Just like with the bouncing ball and spinning ball, we'll need to use arcs and spacing to make an effective pendulum. But here I specifically want to focus on the timing. What makes the pendulum animation feel natural is the acceleration and deceleration that happens at either extremes. When an animation accelerates out of a pose, that's what's known as a slow out. And when an animation decelerates into a pose, that's known as a slow in. We're going to put both of these into action with the pendulum, but let's first start by drawing in our extremes. That being the pendulum at the highest point of the arc on the left, completely straight down at center, and then its highest point on the right. Then I'll add in 2 breakdown poses halfway between our extremes. Now here's where the timing is going to get interesting. Between the first extreme and our first breakdown, I'm going to have 8 frames. Then between the first breakdown and our center point, it will only be 4 frames. So now let's do another drawing between our first extreme and our first breakdown. This will be halfway between those 2. Then halfway between this drawing and our first extreme, we'll do another one. And we'll fill in that last frame halfway between this drawing and the first extreme. You can see from this process, we've packed in a lot more drawings closer to that first extreme and fewer drawings as it gets down towards the center of the arc. Now we can repeat the same thing on the far side as it eases into that right extreme. Now that pendulum will speed up on the way out from the left and slow down on the way in to the right. And all we have to do is play this same thing backwards, and now we have a full pendulum swing cycle. Okay, so that's level 1 for the pendulum. Let's move on to the hammer swing. The hammer swing is going to be very similar, so I'm not going to spend as much time on it, but in this case what we're going to focus on is the overshoot. An overshoot is when an animation goes beyond the final stopping point. So in this case, the hammer is going to squash down into the ground before it settles into that final key pose. And just like before, in order to get that acceleration, we're having a slow out from our initial upright position. Now let's have a look at the level 2 version of some of these exercises. For most of them, the level 2 is just going to introduce a little bit more perspective and volume. But let's start with another bouncing ball exercise where each one is now a different type of ball. We'll use all the techniques we've learned so far to make these feel like they're made of different materials. So for the basketball, I'm actually using just a tiny bit of squash and stretch because they don't really deform too much when they bounce on the ground. They're pretty sturdy in their shape. For the bouncy ball, I made that have sort of a medium level of squash and stretch, so there's more frames when it hits the ground, and I gave it a higher arc than the basketball. And for the water balloon, I gave it a ton of squash and stretch, so the water actually falls before the top part of the balloon where it's tied. So that makes it feel like there's this slight delay between the water and the balloon itself. The next thing you can do is animate the bouncing ball in 3D space. So we're actually going to have it go into the plane of the picture. The arcs are going to get shorter and thinner as it recedes back into 3D space. If you're not feeling too comfortable with just setting up a perspective grid like this, be sure to go back to my perspective series where I talk about all that kind of stuff. But once you're comfortable setting up grids and you have a good sense of how to rotate volumes in 3D space, just give this a go and see how it turns out. The next level 2 exercise that I did with the pendulum swing was I added a volume at the peak of the pendulum. So that way, as it goes from side to side, it actually has a twisting motion. All right, everyone, that's about it for this video. We talked about a ton of exercises, so your homework is looking quite dense for this week. If you enjoyed that video and want to learn more from me, I'm doing a full animation basics class over at projectcity.tv. And we'll be covering all of this plus a lot more in that class. If that sounds interesting to you, the class starts May 24th and is available with or without feedback. All the recordings will be available, so you can actually purchase this class whenever at any point in time. If you stuck all the way through the end, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.